Hey man, you thought Ford Triton V8s were bad? Wait until you see what happens with the Ford 3.5 liter V6s. We're going to show you what to do about these in a minute. Welcome back. Today we have a camshaft phaser. This is a VCT camshaft phaser. This is an exhaust one based on this right here, the E. Come on, focus. There we go. Yep, the E, that's what we're going for. So that dictates that this is an exhaust cam phaser. Now, this came out of a 2017 to 2019 Ford F-150 Expedition or Navigator with the 3.5 liter V6 engine. Same engine that's also in the Ford Raptor, the EcoBoost. Now, we're going to go through and I'm going to show you what the failure is. This is what happens when they make the rattle on startup. So that's the noise that you hear on startup. And this is what the failure is. So I've already taken this apart to clean it so that I can show you guys exactly what the problem is with these. Okay, so now that we've taken the bolts out, I can actually show you how this thing works. And so you can see that this center part is bolted to the camshaft itself, and this outer part is what connects to the timing chain. Now, there's a spring and a plunge and a little like plastic plunger. See, here's the plunger and the spring, the little pin. Now that pin goes in this hole here. Okay. Now what that does, this little spring kind of puts pressure to keep that plunger in this hole in this plate. Now what that does is it locks both pieces together. Now the failure that you're getting that is causing the noise, you see how that is? Let's see if we can zoom in a little bit better on that. So you can see the lip and how that has been rounded right in there. Yeah. So what you get is a lot of that metal wear and debris right there. And that's from this pin just not locking in place fully. Okay. And so what you get then is a rattle on startup because there will be a bit of play and a bit of movement. And you can just see where it's all like worn away inside of it. Now it takes oil pressure to actually release this pin, and that's what allows these two pieces to move. And as you can see, it can actually move a pretty good amount. For this system to actually operate, it relies on oil pressure to be applied on both sides. When you see the camshaft, there's actually 4 oiling holes, which you can see right there. And these are actually pinned on the camshafts themselves. So you see the 4 oiling holes, and that will actually apply oil. See the 2 different passages right there? It applies differential oil pressure to each side to advance or retard the timing on the camshafts up to 40 degrees in each direction. And so on startup, it utilizes this pin to hold everything in place so that you don't get that noise or that rattle or anything. Now, there is a TSB about this. The TSB number is 22-2200, and it basically states, hey, if you have the rattle on startup, just go ahead and replace all 4 VCT phasers. Now, I got to be honest with you, I have been able to pinpoint it in the past when this first started to become a problem because they wanted you to replace only the bank that was affected. However, we were getting a bunch of repeat repairs. So Ford recommends replace all of them, not just the one bank that's making noise. And so if we put this back together without the pin, then what I can do is I can show you exactly what to look for when you're trying to diagnose one of these. Because if you pull the valve covers off, you can actually put a wrench on the camshafts because there's slots on the camshafts themselves. So you can actually grab hold of the camshafts and turn them. And I'll show you what it'll do. Now, we don't need to get this fully tight because this part's never going back on a car. This was not a warranty return part. This was a customer paid job that was done out of warranty and out of the recall. So the parts didn't need to get returned. Now, with the timing chain in place, you can actually take this and you can actually actuate it. Now, with the pin being broken, you can easily do this. Like, you will be able to grab the camshaft with a wrench and actually turn the camshaft, and the camshaft will twist, but this won't. And so you can actually get a bunch of like startup problems and some kind of drivability problems. You may get some misfires, but if you have the rattle on startup, you got to fix that first because you got to have a good base engine before you move forward with any other kind of diet. Now, the principles behind this VCT phaser can pretty much be said for all of the Ford Motor Company VCT phasers. So that also stems to other vehicles like the Land Rover ones, because they're still manufactured by Ford and they still use like this basic design. That's why they clack and rattle. This right here. Same design. Now, there are also some other details that we should go into about the recalls, and that is that part of the repair process for replacing these is also to update the PCM to the latest calibration. The other issue with that is that sometimes after you've done this repair and everything, it can cause a kind of a shudder. And so there's actually a second recall to fix that too. So not only is there a recall that will actually, help in repairing this, there's also another recall to then reprogram the PCM to a different calibration in case you have an engine shudder. Gotta love working on cars, right? If one PCM calibration doesn't fix it, oh, hey, look, we've got another. But I digress. Back to this. During this repair process, it is actually imperative that you do reprogram the PCM to the latest calibration, because there is an update in there where it will actually hold the oil pressure so that it will actually hold the pin in place. It'll basically lock the VCT solenoids, the electrical solenoids that actually control the oil pressure that goes in and out of here. So when you turn off the engine, it locks them into a certain position so that it will actually hold the oil pressure to hold it up so that you don't get the problems. Now, there is a recall to actually support the repairs of this. Now, that recall is 21N03. And what that is basically just kind of a extended warranty coverage. Now, 21N03 will cover these phasers as long as your vehicle is eligible and your VIN has been activated on the Oasis report. Now, step 1, replace all 4 VCT phasers. Step 2, reprogram the PCM using IDS and the latest software. That way you get the latest PCM update and make sure that everything's going to be copacetic. And please plan for your vehicle to be down at the dealership for a few days, because the repair itself, some skilled techs can get it done in 6 hours. Some will get it done in 9, 10, 12. Depends what kind of tech they have at the dealership. So it's either going to be a day to day and a half repair. Really depends on who they got working on your car. If it's me, it'll be a one-day deal, like one and done. You'll be all good in the hood. However, do plan for your vehicle to be down for at least a couple of days while they get the parts in. Most of the time, to be honest with you, if the dealership's worth their salt, they'll have them in stock. They'll have all the parts in stock. Everything will be good to go. So you'll probably be without your truck for a couple of days. It really depends on what the scheduling's like at the dealership. I know it can be hectic, especially to get a decent engine guy in a shop. It could take a couple of days, could take a week. Just depends on your local dealer. Call around, see who can get you in the fastest and get it done. And once again, it's the end of the video. And if you've truly enjoyed this content and valued the information that I have put out there for you guys, please feel free, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll keep doing things like this as I find them. Thank you, and have a good night.